Chapter 15. Isabella. After managing to avoid Kylo for the rest of Friday, I sat with a handful of the other warriors around a blazing bonfire on Saturday night. I hadn't even gotten a chance to talk to the moon goddess yesterday, as too many others had had her attention, and I'd wanted to keep major distance from that cruel alpha who kept giving me those eyes from across the tulip garden.
"My wolf has been on edge lately,"
Darnell, a wolf moon warrior, said, scuffing his boot against the dirt. An agonizing frown was splayed across his face, and he choked back some whimpers.
"The anniversary of my family's death is approaching."
I glanced from him to Kylo, who placed a sympathetic hand on Darnell's shoulder. Kylo looked my way, and I turned back to the fire with a frown. There were so many hard stories that I had listened to for the past hour and a half. Warriors spoke of the hardest, most demanding battles in and out of the forest. Some were physical, but most were mental wars.
"Humans killed them during the full moon, hunted us like it was a fucking game that night,"
Darnell continued, shaking his head.
"I lost my mate and my babies."
He let out a quiet sob.
"Twin boys. They were only 7 months.
I closed my eyes as a tear slid down my cheek. Thank the goddess I didn't have a harrowing story like that. If Mom, Dad, or Roman died, I wouldn't be able to deal with it. It was hard enough that Luna Rhea had been killed by a group of filthy rogues. After Darnell finished, another warrior wolf named Connor looked over at Kylo.
"What's your story?"
Almost unintentionally, I leaned forward and directed all my attention to Kylo. Maybe this would give me insight on what had happened between him and Roman that made them hate each other. Sure, Roman had taken his mate, but there must have been a reason why, right? Kylo stared into the fire.
7 years ago, I killed my father for raping a woman who was supposed to be his ally."
He didn't look up, didn't shudder in disgust, didn't show even an ounce of emotion, except his eyes glistened with tears. Kylo had killed his own father? Strong male, my wolf said. Protective partner.
"At one point, I had looked up to him,"
Kylo continued with torment in every word.
"I thought the way he treated my mother was how every man treated his mate."
He parted his lips and then pressed them back together, as if he had changed his mind and didn't want to speak about the horrors he'd faced as a child. Jasmine, another warrior, nudged him. "Go on. Nobody here will judge you." Kylo took a deep breath and clenched his jaw.
"He called her a whore, a bitch, a slut, any name in the fucking book. He treated her like shit, and for the longest time, I treated my mate like that. She was young and impressionable, not even 18. I thought that was what men did, and then she left me. Around the same time, I found out that my dad had raped Alpha Roman's mom, and I lost it."
My eyes widened, pure shock darting through my body. Oh, my fucking goddess. Kylo's dad had raped Luna Rhea? A tear slid down Kylo's cheek as his lip twitched. Even from feet away, I felt every ounce of the insurmountable pain weighing on his shoulders at the loss of a mate and the knowledge of his once poor character. This must have been why Roman had wanted to keep me from Kylo. Kylo paused for a few moments, pressed his lips together, and stood. "That's all." When Jasmine started to tell her story, I couldn't listen. My mind was too caught up with Kylo. He had killed his own father, driven away his mate, and been holding back all this shame. Walking back into the forest alone, Kylo left us. "Follow him," my wolf said. "He is hurting." Jasmine looked between us and gave me that "it's okay to go comfort him" look. I smiled at her, nodded, and followed after Kylo through the woods and into the garden. Moonlight bounced off the pink petals, giving the estate a rosy glow. "Kylo," I called. "Kylo, wait." I grabbed his wrist and pulled him back. "Stop, please." Though I didn't expect him to stop for me, he paused and looked down at me with hurt in his brown eyes. I had never seen him look so vulnerable and so utterly broken. He was always Kylo, the sexy, strapping alpha who wanted me. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I didn't want to admit it out loud." He sat down on a stone bench. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect your pack from the rogue attack that killed Roman's parents. If I hadn't been so angry with my father and my mother for not telling me about it sooner, I would have been there to stop it. Your Luna would still be alive." "It's not your fault," I said, sitting down next to him and placing my hand on his knee. "It was the rogues who killed her. Nobody could have known that they were going to attack." "But still," his voice was quiet, "I would have been there." After a few moments of silence, Kylo bumped his knee against mine and gazed out at the thousands of tulips. "You scare me," he said quietly over the slight hum of the warriors at the waterfall. "Every time I think about you, I feel the same intense desire for you that I felt with Scarlet. My wolf and I have grown, but I'm still terrified that I'm going to hurt you like I hurt her." He rested his forearms on his knees and clenched his fists. "I want to stay away, but I can't." I scooted closer to him until our thighs brushed. "Why can't you stay away?" I whispered. "Because though I don't like that you're part of the Lycans, I value your strength and your commitment to making this world a better and safer place." He softly shook his head and grabbed my fingers, intertwining them with his. The moonlight bounced off of his beautiful brown eyes, and all I wanted was to run my fingers up his neck and draw him closer to me. But I resisted. "I want you," he said, as his sweet pine scent drifted through my nostrils. He moved closer to me, his face inches from mine, and tugged a strand of my hair behind my ear. "And I don't know why." Giving in to my wolf, I rested my forehead against his. "What are you doing to me?" I asked, placing my fingers against his neck. Fuck staying away from him. I wanted him closer, so much closer. He grasped the sides of my face, his thumbs brushing against my jawbones. Foreign butterflies fluttered through my stomach, up my torso, down my arms and legs until my entire body tingled. I hadn't felt like this since Roman became my mate. "Goddess Isabella," he said, lifting my jaw. "I can't stay away from you any longer." Tilting his head to the side, he leaned in slowly. I dug my nails into my palms and told myself that I couldn't betray Roman like this. Yet my wolf kept calling out for his wolf, begging me to let her feel his lips on hers again. Again. As if it had happened before in a past life. When his lips were millimeters from mine, I purred. Not my wolf. Me. Before he could even kiss me, he shuddered at the sound, his whole body shaking in pleasure. I could feel his wolf just underneath the surface, desperately clawing to get out, wanting to see me. The mate's necklace that Roman had given me shifted on my neck, and I froze. This was wrong. What was my wolf thinking? What was I thinking? I shouldn't be here. This shouldn't be happening. Kylo leaned closer to me, about to kiss me, when I turned my head. He placed his lips on my right cheek, just the mere feeling making me shiver in delight. I didn't know why I was reacting so strongly to him. I couldn't understand it. Why did I want something sinister? He wasn't my mate. After letting his lips linger on my skin, Kylo swore under his breath and pulled away. We stared at each other in silence, the only sound coming from the faint music at the party by the lake. For a few moments, his eyes shifted back and forth between his wolf and his human. Then Kylo finally glanced away. I looked down at my feet and hugged my arms around my body, guilt washing over me like a tsunami. No matter how hard I tried, this feeling was just getting stronger. And now, I knew that it was more than just lust between us. My wolf really, truly craved a connection with him. We can't do this anymore, I said. I can't go behind Roman's back. I can't keep lying to Roman or to myself like this. We are wrong. He stayed quiet. What are you lying to yourself about? Goddess, I hated saying it. I hated thinking it. I like you, I whispered, grasping his hand. I like you so fucking much, and I don't know how to make it stop. Why make it stop? When he leaned closer, my wolf began to purr again. All I know is that I haven't been able to get you out of my mind. Every time I close my eyes, every time I go for a run, every time I fucking breathe, Isabella, it's you. I grasped his hands and stared into his brown eyes. Because I have Roman. Howls from other wolves echoed through the garden. I stood up. I need this to stop, Kylo. I need to find out why I feel this way for you. I led him in the direction of the waterfall, following the light to the moon goddess. The moon goddess will help us understand. The moon goddess stood at the edge of the waterfall, watching the wolf moon warriors splash around in the water. Though it was dark outside, she was bright enough to light the entire forest. With piercing blue eyes and curls that blew softly behind her, she glanced over at us and smiled. Isabella and Kylo, she said. Are you ready to talk? I furrowed my brows. You've been waiting for us? She laughed, her voice getting lost in the wind, and placed down a glass of white wine with moonflower sap. Only since the weekend started, she said playfully. You two are so aggravating to watch, on and off and on and off with all the flirting. Kylo looked at me with one brow cocked and squeezed my hand. I hadn't let go of it yet. After ushering us back toward the garden where it was more private, she said, My dears, the sky and I have had bets on how you two would end up. It's such a blessing to see you together again. Again. What did again mean? We followed her through the gardens, letting her light our path. And why would she have bets on us? Shouldn't she want us to be with our mates? The wolves who she'd assigned us to be together with forever. She sat down on a stone bench, admiring her light as it bounced off the tulips. Now, what is it exactly that you want to know? Everything? Specific oddities, maybe? Kylo squeezed my hand tighter, and I dropped his. It felt so wrong, yet the whole time I had been gravitating toward him. The pull was becoming unbearably strong. I don't want to feel this connection with Kylo anymore, I blurted. We do, my wolf said. We love him. No, we don't. We love Kylo. Kylo was our first love. Stop it. Kylo will always be our love. I pressed my lips together, trying to get my wolf's thoughts out of my mind. It wasn't true. I didn't love him. He wasn't my first love. He wasn't even in love with me. My wolf was speaking utter nonsense. Oh, honey. She stood up and brushed her knuckles against my cheek, making my skin tingle. This connection will never go away. You are bound by my power, have been for thousands and thousands of years. My heart raced. Our first love. How? Kylo asked. Are we mates? She chuckled. No. Connected by the wolf moon? I offered. She arched a brow. Do you feel this connection with anyone else here? Then what is it? I asked, my fingers brushing against his fingers once more. After pausing for a few moments, she smiled. You two are connected because you're going to save the werewolf species from the war that lies ahead of you. There is a darkness coming, a darkness that I can't stop. It does not allow for divine intervention, and if it did, well, my powers alone are far too weak. She brushed her fingers against the lichen tattoo on the center of my back. You two are my strongest warriors. You two have positioned yourselves in the best ways possible for the journey ahead. For you, Isabella, you have the lichens. She gazed at Kylo, and I watched her light dance in his eyes. For you, Kylo, you have this. She held out her hand, and the flower that could kill any Wolf Moon warrior within seconds appeared in a small jar. He cautiously took it from her. The wolf's flower has been prophesied by many to bring an end to the darkness. So many questions buzzed around my mind. Which darkness? What would it look like? Why were we the only ones who could stop it? But me being me, I asked, so that's why I'm attracted to him, because we're going to save the world? Placing her hands on each of our shoulders, she shook her head. Not entirely. I have nothing to do with that desire of yours to let Kylo have you, though mates are the most sacred connections that I can forge. Your connection, she gazed between us, far surpasses that. Kylo brushed his fingers against mine again, sending sparks up my arms. What she was saying didn't make sense to me. I wanted my mate to be my only connection, not someone else. We want Kylo and Roman, my greedy little wolf said. I will not step between you because true love is out of my hands. I stared at the moon goddess, just blinking and trying to understand what she had just said. Are you saying that even if I reject Kylo and vow to never see him again, I'll still have feelings for him? Correct. Aren't you the moon goddess? Can't you... Kylo placed a hand on my waist, rubbing small circles on my skin to calm me. Sorry, I said. It's okay, my child. I know you're confused. Let me explain. She smiled. The only time I have seen a connection like yours is between the divine wolves, my first creations and the strongest creatures to ever live. They died millennia ago, but their souls have what you would call free will. They have reincarnated into the strongest werewolf bodies over and over for the past 7,000 years, and appear only when they sense danger is arising. Together, they defend the world against it, and then they die. She brushed her fingers against both of our cheeks, staring between us. And they have chosen you two, my children, to defeat the darkness that lies before us. That means that, she nodded her head, that you are the divine wolves. The divine wolves? The divine fucking wolves. I stepped back and shook my head, tears filling my eyes. Everything that Roman and I had been through, had it all been for nothing? Had we fought and nearly broken up and gotten back together just to lose our connection? Or were we always fated to fall apart? What was going to happen to us? Kylo had the same shocked expression written all over his face. I wrapped my arms around myself. Did you know who we were meant to be when choosing us to have different mates? I asked, anger boiling inside of me because Roman was at the pack house, waiting for me to come home, alone. But after tonight, I would be coming home with Kylo, the man Roman hated the most, the man whose father had raped his mother. He would hate me for this. He would lose it. He would hurt so fucking bad. The moon goddess shook her head. If I had known that the divine wolves would choose your bodies, I would have chosen you as mates. She reached out to grab my hand. They are powerful creatures, almost as powerful as I am, and have their own liberty to do as they please. After defeating the last danger, they disappeared for hundreds of years. I never thought they'd return. After the last time, I thought they were gone for good. After pushing away a stray tear, she cupped our faces and smiled so softly. I never thought that I would see either of you again, she said. My wolf howled inside of me and curled into her embrace, acknowledging her as our creator, as our first mother, as our one true goddess. More tears fell from her eyes, and I had the urge to comfort her, but she stepped away from us and gazed between Kylo and me. Kylo smiled at me, as if he felt the connection, too, but I didn't smile back. "What's wrong?" he asked, brows knitting. All my wolf wanted was to run into his arms and to tell him that nothing was wrong now that we had found each other. But something was wrong. Something was terribly wrong. "Roman," I whispered. I brushed my fingers against my mate's necklace and clutched it in my hand like it was my most valuable possession. Because it was. Roman meant more to me than all of this, than being a Lycan, than seeing the moon goddess, than finding out the truth. But there was no denying the fact that there was something between Kylo and me. What's going to happen with Roman? Do I have to stop loving him? Do I have to reject him? I asked, barely able to get the word out. The thought of hurting Roman was pure torture. I loved him more than I loved myself, even though it might not seem like it sometimes. Kylo frowned. How could I choose between my fated mate and my other half? The moon goddess stepped forward. "Not unless you want to reject him." "No, I don't ever want to reject him." "You can still be with him," she confirmed. "In fact, each of you can still be with your mate." She stopped herself and glanced at Kylo with a grievous expression. Kylo stared down at his feet, his pain so strong that my wolf physically hurt from it. It was pain that lingered from his mate's heartbreak, from watching his mate with Roman, from treating her poorly all these years. After swallowing hard, the moon goddess looked directly at me. "You can still have Roman as your mate, Isabella, and Kylo may choose what he would like me to do for him, since he now knows about the connection between you two." Kylo parted his lips and then pressed them back together. "I can choose? If you'd like a second chance mate, if you'd like to be mateless, if you'd like to continue your life with your other half, you may choose," she said. For a moment, he glanced between us, and then he turned away. I didn't know what I wanted him to say. Maybe I wanted him to choose me. Maybe I wanted him to choose Scarlet to get her out of Roman's hair. Maybe I wanted him to be happy, and if that meant choosing someone else, then he would get another mate. "I want Isabella to be happy," Kylo said finally. "Well," the moon goddess said, "I will leave you to be happy together. You have one more day here by yourselves. Enjoy it."
You've reached the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. To get up to 4 weeks additional uncensored content, subscribe to the podcast at reamstories.com/AmeliaRoseAudio. Due to content restrictions, explicit sex scenes will only be available through Ream. But if you'd like to continue listening to my free episodes, make sure to hit the follow button to receive updates.